Buddy joins us right now, Joe Pinion. He's a Newsmax commentator on the Saturday Report, GOP strategist, philanthropist. Joe, and down the stretch they come. It looks like, you know, many are saying maybe a photo finish. I think it's going to be worse than that for Biden.
Yeah, I mean, look, I've given up on the prediction of what's going to happen, other than to say that I believe that this is going to be a drawn-out process. I don't think that either one of the candidates is going to run away with this. I think President Trump is probably going to squeak this one out. If you look at some of the late-breaking action that we have in places like Arizona and Pennsylvania, and I think what's not being talked about, something I spoke about this weekend, is the notion that user error could have a tremendous impact on this election. You go back to all of those people back in 2000 who thought they were voting for Al Gore, and turns out they weren't. We could be having the same scenario. Close to 3% of all the ballots that have been turned in early in North Carolina were filled out incorrectly. So this is also a state where the margin of error was about 3.5% 4 years ago. So buckle up, grab your popcorn, because we're not really going to know probably what's happening for a long time to come.
Joe, you know what I find strange? The ruling class in most of the really blue progressive cities in this country, the ruling class is usually with the real estate developers. There's usually some kind of deal out there. And here in New York and in other places like that, they're boarding up all the stores. So it tells me that they're already preparing the people in the know, the real estate owners who are in the pocket usually of the mayor, or the mayor's in their pocket. They're all boarding up their stores, preparing for a Trump victory. I don't know. Is that an early sign in your view?
I mean, look, everywhere you go, there's a new sign. I mean, people are saying, oh, my goodness, the president canceled the party at the Trump Hotel in D.C. It's a disaster. They already know they're going to lose. Meanwhile, they're boarding up stores here in New York City. Here's what I think is going to happen. I think that people will be breaking things and burning things election night, no matter what, just because that seems to be where we're headed right now, unfortunately. And so I think, people should brace themselves. I think the media is doing an awful job of preparing people for the harsh truth is that we're not necessarily going to know who has actually won the election for days, if not weeks to come. We should be talking about night one of election coverage and not election night coverage, because I think there's going to be a lot of confusion that's been sown by the fact that the media has been more interested in pumping up their ratings than preparing the American people to make sure that we have the full faith and credit of our electoral system.
No doubt about it. Joey, I feel like all they're peddling on the left-wing channels is fear. And when you see over and over again, they keep showing stores being boarded up in cities around the country. We're preparing. I almost feel like they're kind of suppressing the vote a little bit by saying, well, if you go vote for Trump and he wins, this is what's going to happen. They're going to start rioting and looting. Like I don't know why we can't get, I will say this. I know you on the Saturday Report over on Newsmax TV is serving it to people real and straight up. So, I mean, that's what I love about you. How is that going? What are you telling your audiences on Newsmax?
Well, yeah, I mean, I think my monologue this week was really about, trying to highlight this user error. The fact that, again, we have a, higher than normal percentage of people who are voting absentee and early. And we know, statistically speaking, that mail-in ballots are the highest percentage of spoiled ballots, because people sitting at home in front of the TV make mistakes that people at the voting booth, with help from actual voting officials, don't typically make. So I think that we could actually see that having an impact on the outcomes here. You're looking in places like Michigan and also, like I said, North Carolina earlier. These are places where in the primaries alone, there were already more spoiled ballots than the actual margin of victory in some of these states. So that, to me, is going to be something that is really key for me to look in the days following election night to see if that plays into it. If we end up in the courts trying to argue about who people actually voted for versus who they intended to vote for. Like I said, I think one professor in Florida said that the spoiled ballot, the user error rate, could be the hanging chad of the 2020 election.
Wow.
Because it's anyone's ball game when we start going down to, dusty warehouses with senior citizens trying
Yikes.
to figure out what's going on with signatures with bifocals.
No doubt. All right, Joey P., we got to leave it there. Hey, all you out there listening, watching, wherever you are, every Saturday you got to put on Newsmax TV and check out Joe's show, The Saturday Report, every week. But you can catch him here every Monday. Joe, thanks a lot, brother. Appreciate it.
Appreciate you, brother. Talk soon.
Talk soon. All right, we're going to take a quick break. We're going to come back after this and break down some more news of the day. Lots to talk about. Lots of fun stuff going out there. And I want to talk to you about Halloween and how my Halloween went. It was pretty interesting. Quick break. We'll be back right after this.